Now we're going to talk about Kyle Dubas, as I mentioned in the previous block. Some of the things that he said yesterday in his postseason interviews, and I think we should probably start with him talking about his future and what could be coming next for him.
My family is a hugely important part of what I do. So for me to commit to anything without, having a fuller understanding of what this year took on them is probably unfair for me to answer where I'm at. I wish I could give you more, but we haven't been able to have those full discussions yet. But it was a very hard year on them. And thus, it's tough for me to, what I would say is that I'm not going to, I definitely don't have it in me to go anywhere else. So it'll either be here or it'll be taking time to recalibrate, reflect on the seasons here. But you won't see me next week pop up elsewhere. I can't put them through that after this year.
Really emotional from Kyle Dubas, right?
Yeah.
I really wasn't expecting that. I was expecting an even keel guy.
And I mean, apparently he travels with the team to every away game.
It's a lot,
right?
GMs don't do that.
They don't generally do that, right? So I do wonder though if he's positioning himself here to ownership and saying, listen, there's a deal to be made here, but you must reward me properly. I wonder if there's been conversations about a new deal. If not, there's a contract on the table at this point. And he's saying, listen, yeah, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere else, but I'm demanding certain things. Be that financial, be that power, like you said before. And he's kind of using the family card to leverage that. Just pure speculation.
Right.
I mean, who knows?
He mentioned the family a lot.
Yeah, he does. He's a genuine guy, right? He's very authentic. And I think we've seen this emotional side of Kyle Dubas. We saw that in the playoffs, right? We saw the shots in the press box. A real new emotional Kyle Dubas that perhaps we didn't know about too much until this season. He seems more human now than he ever has before, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. And I think now you can really cross off, if you're taking what he says at face value, you can cross off a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins or any other team looking for a general manager if he's saying, listen, if it's not here, it's nowhere else. I was not expecting him to say that. My true expectations of Kyle Dubas before that press conference was he was going to come out and do what he's done before, back his core, back himself, and we'll be back at it next year, and we're going to try and get better to become a Stanley Cup winning team.
He clearly wants to be back
the other way. Yeah,
if he can,
that's my take
figure
too.
out the family side of things and the contractual side of things. I think he wants to be back. He's ultra competitive, right? And I think he's seduced by the prospect of winning in this market, like a lot of players are too, right? There's so much to be said about winning in this market compared to other markets. If you can be that player or that GM or that coach that gets his team over the hump, I mean, that is a magnificent thing for a sports person to live with, right? If you can be that guy. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Listen, he could be out of a job this time next week. We don't know, but my gut tells me he's back next year, and with it will come a pretty juicy contract, maybe with some more power.
Yeah, I think he'll be back as well. I mean, who knows what'll happen in the near future, but Kyle Dubas with this team, listen, he hasn't done a lot wrong. I mean, what can you really point to that's affected this team the most? It's probably those contracts of the core four.
Yeah, because he didn't beat them down, did he?
No, but he's done some incredible things with the cap.
Yeah, or Brandon Pridham has.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
The goaltender situation, Matt Murray was a disaster. Right, no GM's perfect though, right?
No.
He's made some mistakes, but I thought the deadline, as much as it was really solid and they brought in good players that played very, very well, the fact that he had to bring those players in the deadline, I think, shows that in last off season they didn't address the needs that had to be addressed. Right, it's better to get stuff done before the season starts, and then maybe sprinkle a couple of players in at the deadline. They bring in 4 or 5 players around the deadline. That's a big change for a team, and they never really found their mojo after that.
No, and he has to do that because it's his own fault for signing those core guys for so much money, right? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, what did you think of him kind of defending himself for not having Brandon Shanahan there, saying, listen, I don't need someone to shield me. It was my decisions, my roster moves, my trades.
I like that.
I don't need anyone
accountability,
here.
right?
Yeah, which tells me
he's
a guy who's able to take the bullets, which also that's why it leads me to believe that he wants more power.
Maybe, yeah.
Because he feel like he can make all decisions and not worry about the heat that's going to come his way.
It'll be fascinating when we hear about Shanahan.
Right.
And what is he meeting with ownership right now? What's he saying? What will he say? Because you're right, this guy's taking the bullets right now. And that's fine, so he should, but it's also the president's job to do that as well. So,
True.
Masai Ujiri took him, 4 or 5 days to appear in front of the media. Maybe we'll see the same from Shanahan.
Yeah, we could see the same from Brendan Shanahan. We'll find out hopefully later today when that press conference will be. Okay, so one of the main things that any GM, whether it's Dubas or somebody else, will have to address is what to do with these core 4 players. And here's Kyle Dubas on what maybe he'll be doing if he stays.
This spring and summer through to next October, am interested in doing anything that we, after a very thorough evaluation, because if you're going to do something like that, it's you got to bet it's got to be very thoroughly done, which I think the team we just played serves as a great template for. They won the President's Trophy. They lost in the second round. They were disappointed. They get to the summer and they trade 2 of their core guys for a great younger player, and that's a big move. But I don't think it was hastily done. It wasn't until I think it was late July, a Friday night, late July, that they make the move. So the way I would answer it is I would consider anything with our group here that would allow us a better chance to win the Stanley Cup. So that I would take nothing off the table at all. And I think everything would have to be considered with regards to anything to do with the Leafs.
Taking nothing off of the table when it comes to the core 4, Sharms.
To me, that is a come and get me plea, right? To the whole league saying basically, we are open for business now. I'm done. It's time to move forward, right? And it also sounds to me like that's a GM that's back next year as well. The way he's talking, when he removes the emotion and the family considerations out of the way, he wants to be back. He's got plans to make some changes here, right? And the fact that he will actually mention another team and what they did tells me that there will be big changes.
He called it a template, right?
Template, yeah, exactly. He goes, that worked for them. It's great. And he compared their seasons to the Leafs seasons, right?
Right.
Great regular season, President's Trophy in their case, obviously.
Bumped out of the second round.
Disappointed as a franchise, and they made a big move. I think that, to me, tells his core, prepare yourself, boys, because you're not all coming back.
And that also tells me that that's someone who knows exactly what he needs to do. At least that's what I believe based on what he's saying. The number one priority at the top of that core 4 list is going to be Auston Matthews, right? He's eligible for an extension come July 1, and he's probably going to want to get paid as the highest paid player in the league. The cap is going to go up $1 million. Right now, I believe it's Connor McDavid at 12.6, 12.5 was the highest. McKinnon goes 12.6, which means Matthews is going to want more. With the cap going up, you're going to assume it's in the 13 million range.
Probably,
right?
Yeah.
And if you're
under the current cap.
If Auston Matthews says, I want to stay, but I need, let's say the max, which is 20% of the cap, that would be close to what, 17, 18 million? Yeah. I mean, if you're a GM, if you're a GM, in that case, what do you do?
You better get term. You better get 8 years. Last time he got 5 years because he wanted to get this deal now and make more money.
Right.
If he comes and says, "Listen, I'll sign a 2-year deal. I want 15 right now, and then we'll renegotiate in 2 years' time, and the cap's going to go up by 4 or 5 million," you can't do that, right? I mean, if these guys want to win, and as I keep saying, we want to win, then they're going to have to say goodbye to some of their friends, or they're going to have to
take a haircut.
Take a haircut.
Yeah.
You can't afford the 4 right now with 3 of them taking big raises. That doesn't work.
I think this next contract, will tell us if Auston Matthews wants to win or if he doesn't. Because if he takes some sort of a haircut like Nathan McKinnon did, then I think that tells us that he's all in. If not, then it's time to go. It's time to move on.
It's the biggest question in the offseason, right?
Right.
For this guy, whoever's in charge. You say to him, are you going to resign? Do you want to play here? And you better be all in because we'll give you the money. But you must understand that it might mean that your buddy Mitch is leaving.
Well, someone's got to go.
Willie's leaving, right?
Right.
So if you want that money, anyone to contend.
Johnny's not going. Tavares isn't going. I mean, he's got no move, no trade.
He'll try, I'm sure.
You got to have the conversation, right?
I just don't know who would take that contract, number one, to be honest with you.
Right. And I wonder, do you eat some salary if you send him out? Well, the problem is it's going to be...
afford to. If Matthews is getting 15 and Willie wants 9 or 10 and Mitch wants 13 in 2 years' time...
It doesn't work.
It doesn't do the math. It doesn't work.
His cap hit right now is 14% of the current cap, so I'm assuming it's probably going to go up.